Hey Reddit, throwaway account because some friends lurk here and am not ready for anyone to know. This is about me. My wife Elle and I have been together for 8 years, married for 5. For most of that time, I honestly thought we were solid, like annoyingly stable compared to most of our friends. We had our little arguments about chores or her habit of buying random crap online at 2 a.m., but nothing that ever felt like a real threat to the relationship. But about 3 months ago, I started noticing shifts, not huge earthquakes, more like tiny tremors that don't register until you look back and realize they were warnings. She'd get irritated over the smallest things, me forgetting to take out the trash, me asking how her day went. Stuff that never used to bother her suddenly made her snap or roll her eyes like I was the biggest inconvenience in the world. At first, I told myself she was stressed. Work had been rough for her. She had mentioned feeling burned out, overwhelmed. So I backed off, tried to give her space, pick up more around the house. But the more I tried, the colder she got. Little lies started slipping in, the kind you can brush aside. If you want to believe your partner wouldn't lie to you, I wish I hadn't brushed them aside. The weirdness didn't stop, it escalated. Elle started guarding her phone like it was a nuclear-launched device. She used to leave it charging on the kitchen counter unlocked, sometimes even open to whatever she was scrolling through. Now, the thing was glued to her hand. She'd take it to the bathroom, to the shower, to take the trash out. And she started using a new passcode, one she conveniently forgot to tell me when I asked. She also suddenly got really into working out after work, which was strange because she's always been more of a yoga once a month and complain about it type. At first I was happy for her, thought maybe she was trying to feel better, but then the gym nights started stretching longer and longer, and ours became too. Then sometimes she'd come home for hours later with her hair done, smelling like a hotel lobby and not a gym. Anytime I asked how her workout was, she'd get instantly annoyed and accuse me of monitoring her. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a jealous dude. I've never tracked anyone's location in my life, but everything felt off. Like there was a script she was reading from and I was somehow the villain for noticing. I kept telling myself it was stress, that couples go through weird phases. The moment everything tipped from weird to oh, hell no happened on a random Tuesday night. Elle had gone to one of her now regular late gym sessions and I was home finishing some leftover work. My laptop died, so I went to grab her charger from her side of the office. While I was digging through her desk drawer, I found something that didn't belong there. A receipt, not day gym receipt, not day gas receipt, a restaurant receipt, from a place neither of us had ever been to. A fancy rooftop place across town, the kind of place you need reservations for, and where the cheapest thing on the menu is like $35. And their receipt wasn't for one entree, it was for 2. 2 entrees, 2 cocktails, and a dessert Elle would never eat because she hates chocolate. The timestamp, last Thursday, the night she said she worked late and grabbed a protein shake on the way home. My stomach dropped so hard I swear I felt it hit the floor. I must read that receipt 20 times, hoping I was misunderstanding something. But no, her signature was right there at the bottom. I tried to stay calm, told myself there could be an explanation. Maybe she grabbed dinner with a coworker. Maybe someone else paid and she picked up dessert or something stupid like that. But my brain wasn't buying what my heart was desperately trying to sell. And then, like fate had a personal vendetta, I stared at that message like my brain refused to process English. I must read it 10 times, hoping the words would rearrange themselves into something innocent. Something that didn't imply my wife was hooking up with someone whose name she'd disguised as Megan. Jim. I tried to unlock her phone, no luck. She'd changed the passcode again. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the damn thing. I wish I could say I handled it calmly. I didn't. My heart was pounding in my ears, and I felt this weird combination of numbness and pure adrenaline. It was like my body realized what was happening before my mind did. I put the phone down and just walked around the house in circles, trying to breathe, trying to convince myself there was any universe where this wasn't what it looked like. But then something else happened, something small, but it was the thing that snapped me into reality. Elle texted me. A simple, casual message. Jim's really busy tonight. Prob home late. Don't wait up. Almost copy-paste of what she'd told me the night on the receipt. I don't know why, but that lie, the ease of it, the casualness hit harder than the message from Megan. She wasn't stressed. She wasn't distant. She was cheating and lying to me like it was second nature. And suddenly all those tiny moments from the past few months lined up like dominoes. The attitude, the defensiveness, the weird new schedule, the locked phone, the random girls' nights, the new lingerie she swore was just on sale. It all made sense, and for the first time I realized I paced around the house for almost an hour, rehearsing what I would say, how I'd say it, trying not to completely fall apart. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to throw things. I just wanted the truth, or at least to see how far she'd go to avoid admitting it. By the time Elle walked through the front door, it was almost 11:30 p.m. She came in humming like she'd just had the most relaxing evening of her life. No gym bag, no sweat, hair done, makeup still perfect, and she didn't even look surprised to see me still awake. She looked annoyed. "Why are you up?" she snapped, dropping her keys a little too loudly on the counter. "I told you not to wait." Something in me cracked at how casual she was, how irritated she sounded, like I was the one inconveniencing her by existing in the living room at 11:30 p.m. I swallowed hard. "Where were you?" She barely blinked. "The gym, obviously." I didn't say anything. I just stared at her. That's when she pulled the classic cheater move, got defensive before I even accused her of anything. "What?" she barked. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I grabbed the restaurant receipt from the coffee table. I laid it out like evidence in a trial. Her face twitched just slightly. Not shock, not guilt, annoyance. "Why were you at this restaurant Thursday night?" I asked. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd spin out of her head. "Oh my God, are you seriously going through my stuff now?" "That was a work thing." "Who was the other entre for?" I asked quietly. She didn't miss a beat. "My boss?" Her boss is a 62-year-old woman named Carol who is allergic to chocolate. "And the dessert?" She hesitated just long enough. "You wouldn't understand," she snapped. "Why are you being so paranoid lately?" I felt the rage crawl up my throat, but I kept my voice calm. "Okay, then explain this." I picked up her phone from the counter and turned the screen so she could see the message preview. The one from Megan Jim. Her entire expression changed. First panic, then calculation, then irritation. "Oh my God," she scoffed. I thought I was ready for anything. But nothing prepares you for watching someone you love lie to you like it's a reflex. Elle wasn't stumbling, wasn't scrambling, she was smooth. Too smooth, like she'd practiced this in her head a dozen times. I held her phone out. "Then unlock it," I said. "Show me the context." That's when she finally cracked, not with guilt, but with this explosive, over-the-top outrage. "Are you serious? In not unlocking my phone just because you're insecure? This is controlling behavior, and I won't tolerate it." The speed at which she flipped the narrative actually stunned me. I almost laughed. "Almost. Elle," I said quietly, "if you have nothing to hide." She cut me off with a bitter laugh. "You know what? I'm done talking about this. I can't deal with your paranoia right now. I'm taking a shower." And she just walked away. Like we'd argued about laundry. Like she hadn't been caught red-handed. Like I wasn't sitting there holding proof that she was living a double lie. I sat there listening to the shower start upstairs. My mind was a blend of rage, heartbreak, confusion, denial, all spinning at once. Then something else happened. Her phone buzzed again on the counter. Another message from Megan Jim. "Did you tell him you were with me? Don't forget Thursday less than 3, that was it." No excuses. No context. No twisted explanations she could twist into something innocent. She wasn't just cheating. She was coordinating alibis. And suddenly, a calm came over me. Not acceptance, not yet. But clarity. The kind that only comes when the last puzzle piece clicks into place. I realized I wasn't going to get the truth by asking for it. I was going to have to take it. When Elle finally got out of the shower, I was sitting at the dining table with her phone in front of me, not touching it, just staring at it like it was some sort of venomous animal. She walked downstairs in her robe, hair wrapped in a towel, and she froze the second she saw me. "What now?" she snapped, like I had disrupted her peaceful evening. "I saw the second message," I said. My voice wasn't raised. I wasn't shaking anymore. I was cold, detached. Something in me had shut off. She blinked, and for the first time, real fear flickered in her eyes. Not fear of losing me, fear of getting caught. "What message?" she asked, too quickly. "Megan asked if you told me you were with her, and she said not to forget Thursday." Her mouth opened and closed like she was buffering. I kept going. "So do you want to tell me the truth now? Or do you want to keep lying until your story collapses under its own weight?" She glared at me with this furious, wounded bird expression, like my betrayal of her privacy was somehow worse than her betrayal of our marriage. "You know what?" she hissed. "Fine. If you're going to be like this, Maybe it's time we take a break. A break. She wasn't even denying it now. She was trying to jump straight to the exit ramp. Something inside me snapped into place, like gears finally aligning. Who is he? I asked. She flinched, and that was all the answer I needed. I'm not doing this, she spat. I'm going to bed. And again she tried to walk away. But I wasn't done, Elle. I said her name so sharply she froze mid-step. She didn't turn around. Who is he? I repeated. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, without facing me, she muttered, "You don't know him." And just like that, the last lie finally slipped out of her mouth, the one that confirmed everything. Because she never said there wasn't a him, just that I didn't know him. She went upstairs and slammed the door, and I just sat there staring at the wall, feeling everything and nothing at the same time. That was the exact moment I realized our marriage wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing. I didn't sleep, not even for a second. I just sat downstairs in the dark, listening to the faint sounds of her moving around upstairs, closing drawers, pacing, typing on her phone, probably texting whoever he was, maybe warning him, maybe venting about how unreasonable I was being for not appreciating her creative writing exercises with Megan. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard the bedroom door open. Her footsteps crept down the stairs slowly, like she was trying to see if I was still awake. I didn't move. She peered around the corner and jumped a little when she saw me sitting there. "You scared me," she snapped, clutching her phone to her chest. I didn't respond. She sighed dramatically. "Are you seriously still mad? It's the middle of the night. Can we just talk tomorrow like adults?" That line, like adults, almost made me laugh. 15 minutes prior, she had been upstairs slamming doors like a teenager who had lost Wi-Fi privileges. Instead, I said, "If we don't talk now, there's no tomorrow for us." That hit her. I saw it. But instead of softening or apologizing like any normal guilty person might, she launched into this exhausted, annoyed monologue. "I'm tired. I've had a long day. You're blowing everything out of proportion. Why do you always assume the worst? Do you know how horrible it feels to be accused like this? You're being dramatic. I can't deal with this." A machine gun spray of blame, deflection, and whining. All I said was, "You're cheating on me." She froze completely. No blinking, no talking. Just froze. Then she whispered, "You're imagining things." And then, right after that, "You're being abusive." There it was. The nuclear button. The final manipulation tactic. And something in me went very still, because in that moment I realized she wasn't going to admit anything, not out of shame, not out of guilt, not out of love. She was going to lie until the world ended, even if the truth was screaming from every corner of the room. And the worst part, I felt myself letting go. Right then, right there. For the first time since all this started, I knew something with absolute clarity. I couldn't unknow any of this, and we were never going back to who we were. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't look at her the same way. Every laugh, every casual touch, every sarcastic comment she made felt like it had been part of a mask she wore to hide whatever the hell was going on with Megan. I oscillated between anger, heartbreak, and disbelief so fast it made my head spin. She tried to act like everything was normal, which only made it worse. One morning, she came into the kitchen humming a tune I hadn't heard in years, casually pouring herself coffee like nothing happened. My stomach twisted into knots. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to shake her until she admitted the truth. She also had this infuriating habit of gaslighting me whenever I brought up her weird behavior. "Stop overreacting. You're imagining things. Why are you ruining a perfectly good day with your paranoia?" Every single line made me feel like I was going insane. But then randomly she'd do something small, like leave a snack on the counter she knew I liked, or laugh at an old inside joke, and I'd feel a flash of the person I used to love. It was emotional whiplash. 1 second pure rage, the next longing, 1 second despair, the next a flicker of hope, and I realized how dangerous that was, how much she was manipulating reality, without ever explicitly saying the words, just letting my heart and brain do the work for her. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat properly, and every minute I spent in the same house with her was like walking. By the end of that week, I couldn't take the tension anymore. I decided to confront her properly, not halfway in the dark at 11:30 p.m., not in bits and pieces, but everything laid out on the table. I cleared the kitchen table, put her phone in the middle, the receipts next to it, and waited. She came down, saw the setup, and immediately started in. "Are you seriously doing this again? I told you to stop. You're obsessed. This is pathetic. I ignored her. I just sat there and waited for her to realize I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to get defensive. I wasn't going to be manipulated into silence. Then I asked calmly, "Are you cheating on me?" She froze like I'd just asked if the sky was blue. The seconds stretched so long I could feel my own heartbeat in my throat. Then came the classic hesitation. And then, it's complicated. Complicated. That word felt like a punch. She leaned back, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, and went into full-on bitch mode. "I'm stressed, okay? Work, life, everything. I don't have time to babysit your insecurities. Maybe you think I'm cheating. Maybe not, but I can't deal with this interrogation anymore." I pushed. I had to. "Then tell me the truth. Who is he?" She sneered, almost laughing. "You don't need to know. Why does it matter? Why are you trying to ruin my life over nothing?" The gall of it. The audacity. She wasn't denying it outright, she was trying to flip the script. And I realized at that moment, she had no intention of ever telling me the truth. She wanted control. She wanted me trapped in doubt. I sat there in silence, shaking not from anger, but from the crushing weight of betrayal. All the tiny signs over the past months, all the paranoia. After that confrontation, I felt hollow. I'd spent the entire weekend moving through a haze. I barely ate, barely slept, and every time I caught a glimpse of Elle laughing, scrolling through her phone, humming a tune, it felt like a knife twisting in my chest. The strangest part was the mix of emotions. Anger, obviously. Rage at her lies, at her audacity, at how calm she could act while my world was unraveling. But also heartbreak, pure and raw. 8 years, 5 of them married. And now all of it felt like it had been built on shifting sand. And then guilt. Because even though I hadn't done anything wrong, I felt guilty for being angry, for losing patience, for letting this eat at me, for not noticing sooner. At one point, I just curled up on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling through our old photos. The little vacations, the lazy Sundays, the nights we laughed until our stomachs hurt, and every picture felt like a lie. By Monday, I realized I couldn't function normally. One had to get out of the house. I went for long walks, just pacing, trying to calm my thoughts, trying to stop replaying her lies, her texts, her smirks, her excuses over and over in my head. It was like living in a nightmare while the person who caused it wandered around. Like everything was fine. I hated her. I hated what she did. But I also hated the idea of leaving, of letting everything crumble. My heart felt like it had been ripped in. After a few days of soul-crushing anxiety, I realized something important. I couldn't keep living in limbo. I had to make a choice: either try to salvage this marriage with a woman who had no intention of honesty, or cut my losses and protect myself. I tried talking to her again, not accusing, not interrogating, just asking for clarity. Elle, I need the truth, please. I need to know what's real and what's not. She sighed dramatically, like my request was exhausting her. Why do you need the truth so badly? Can't you just live and let live? Why are you always trying to ruin everything? At that point, it hit me. She wasn't just cheating. She didn't feel guilty. She didn't care about me, about us, about anything. She was completely selfish, and all the lies, excuses, and manipulations had been to protect herself. That's when I stopped asking questions. I didn't need her explanations anymore. I already had enough evidence to know she had betrayed me, and her attitude made it clear she wouldn't change. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal itself, it was accepting that someone you loved could lie with such casual cruelty and not even feel remorse. By the middle of that week, I knew what I had to do. Staying meant constant doubt, constant heartbreak, constant walking on eggshells around someone who had already chosen someone else over me. I couldn't keep pretending that we were in the same marriage I thought we were. I started planning quietly. I contacted a lawyer just to understand my options. Made a mental list of what I needed to separate in terms of finances, possessions, and our shared life. I needed control of something, anything, because my emotional world had been flipped upside down. When I finally told Elle I wanted to separate, she acted like it was all my fault. "You're overreacting. You're dramatic. You're ruining us," she yelled, pacing around the living room. But I was calm this time, detached. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I just said, I've seen everything I need to see. I can't stay in this marriage with you. It's over. She tried one last thing. Tears, begging, promises that shed change. But I had learned the truth about her. Cheating wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. And people who choose lies over honesty don't usually change just because you want them to. Walking away hurt like hell, but in that moment, it also felt like I was finally breathing again. The first few weeks after moving out were brutal. The apartment felt empty, my routines were shattered, and every little thing, her mug in the sink, her favorite blanket, the scent of her perfume hit me like a punch. But slowly, I started reclaiming myself. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in months, started going to the gym myself, and even picked up hobbies I'd abandoned. I journaled obsessively, just getting all the anger, sadness, and frustration out on paper. The hardest moments were the quiet ones, when my mind replayed everything. Her lies, the messages, the way she could lie with such confidence. But over time, those moments became less like knives and more like reminders. I had survived. I had faced betrayal head-on and made a conscious choice to not let it define me, and the clarity I gained was worth it. I realized I deserved honesty, respect, and loyalty. I realized I had been settling for less without even knowing it. And I realized that loving someone who doesn't love you back, or worse, who actively deceives you, is a trap you have to escape before it destroys you completely. Looking back, I've learned a lot, painful lessons, but important ones. First, trust is everything. When someone lies repeatedly, it's not just the act of cheating that hurts, it's the complete disregard for your feelings and your reality. L's ability to lie casually, to manipulate, and to gaslight made the betrayal feel infinite. That's not a marriage. That's a trap. Second, denial doesn't help. I spent weeks trying to rationalize her behavior, hoping stress or work explained it. That only delayed my healing. Facing the truth, brutal and ugly as it was the first step toward freedom. Third, self-respect is non-negotiable. Walking away wasn't easy, and it didn't erase the heartbreak overnight, but it preserved my dignity. I realized that no matter how much you love someone, you can't force honesty or loyalty, and no one should have to beg for it. For anyone going through something similar, trust your instincts. Notice the small signs. Don't ignore the red flags. And most importantly, prioritize yourself. Betrayal is devastating, but staying in a relationship with someone who can lie so easily can be far worse. I'm still healing. Some days are harder than others, and the anger and sadness sometimes resurface like a wave out of nowhere. But I also feel stronger, clearer, and more aware of what I deserve. And someday soon, I hope to trust and love again, but with someone who truly deserves it. That's where I am now. Wounded, yes, but also a little wiser. That's all. Subscribe to this channel and put the like button, and goodbye to everyone.